One.
One.
All right, so we're getting started. I think this is our first video together. This is just generally my first video. But I'm gonna put it up on my channel at some point, which is currently called Usama Bin Trading. I should change it. I probably will at some point. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's fine.
So, yeah, dude. I gotta figure. I'm gonna share my screen at some point because I got something. I got a fun place where we're gonna take this conversation. But
Uh,
but we're here. I know we're here to sort of just we're here to talk stuff, right? But we're mainly here to talk about you and what's that District 76? Which when I read that, it was like my mind right away went to District 9.
so, yes.
But yeah, why don't you get started
Um,
by just telling us about what? And I say us, I'm assuming we'll have at least more than one person who watches this.
I think Rob may watch this.
Okay,
He will be our.
we'll send it to Raj as well. Or force him.
There we go. Two,
Two.
two people
That's a win.
at
That's a
least.
win.
So, I am looking into running. Well, actually, I am not looking into. I'm on the freaking ballot.
Mhm.
But the Democratic Party has sliced up the state of California into 80 districts. And each of these districts has a representative. And below those representatives are the underlings that kind of do all the work. So, no name recognition, we're just behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding, the Assembly District Delegate is responsible for setting the priorities for the legislative slate. So, whatever prop is coming out, whatever big issue, we look into it and we say, hey, Democrats, I think we should endorse this, or hey, we should ignore this. Is essentially what it comes down to.
Now, is this like a House seat, or is it like a state legislative seat, or is this a position below that?
Yeah, I'm not sitting in the House or anything
Okay.
like that. It's below that.
Okay, but yeah, it's still elected office.
Elected in the sense that it's done internally within the party. I mean, it's not like open to the public. I don't think you can vote.
I mean,
If you're
Rome
not,
Rome was a republic too, right? But people couldn't directly vote, so we'll say it's like the Roman Republic.
should I do the Roman salute? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh
Oh,
boy,
God.
we'll edit that out, maybe. Maybe just freedom of speech. We'll leave it in. So yeah, so you're on the ballot. Did you want to talk about your platform at all? And if so, I wanted to give you some time, and then I was gonna do a different thing where we will talk about your platform, but using a interesting format I thought of.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. This is cool. You've obviously put more work into this than I have.
You see
um,
this, my friend? This does all the work.
so I'm not sure if I'm really going to have an opportunity to have a platform per se as I'm doing this, since I'm just a tiny little underling. But
But
in my
but you've got a sales pitch.
um, sure.
The reason why you're going to make a difference, right? That's I read it and I felt that that's your pitch. But yeah, go ahead.
Referring cannot speak. Referring to my candidate statement. Yes. So I'm doing this because I would like to believe that this is the step in the right direction to make a change. And for too long, we've been watching politicians, and they've been just catering to donors.
Mm-hmm.
And the Democratic Party used to be blue collar, the
Mm-hmm.
working man's party,
Mm-hmm.
and they've forgotten that. And I think we need to bring that back. It's an easy win. It really is. Just focusing on stuff to help each other. You know, if you don't want to partake in, any social safety net or any sort of program, you don't have to. You can bootstrap all you want. No one's stopping you.
Right. Right.
But, that doesn't change the fact that there are people out there that might need help.
And
And it doesn't mean they're going to be on it all the time.
there are, I'm sure there are people on the other end of the spectrum, right, who hear that and they go, well, that's just taking my money and giving it. It's a welfare state, right? But it sounds like, when you talked about the Democrats are just catering to the donors are the corporate class and the super rich, right? Within California, there are a lot of them. And so it's really about, well, let's not cater to them and all the benefits that they were taking from government that they really don't need. That's what you're talking about. Well, that you spend that on people instead, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's just a reallocation of those resources, right? They're already there. They're already being used, but they're being used by people who don't necessarily need it.
Yeah. So, just on a slightly different note, you- you're wearing a Warriors t-shirt living in San Diego. Come on, man. Come on, man. Lakers are closer.
I wear that shirt because I'm really, really fat, and it's one of the few shirts that fit me. I have no allegiance to any sports team.
It's okay. You're not that fat. And Warriors are a good team to support. So what else, man? So what would you be doing if you got in there?
I honestly don't know. It sounds like, from what I was reading, because there really isn't a whole lot of information on there, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm just looking at the wrong places. I don't really know. But from what I can tell, I'm signing up, to go to a lot of meetings. And it looks like I'd also be kind of on the hook to be the focal point, um, for getting organized and stuff. So the Democratic Party is huge, right? You have the
Yeah, yeah,
national
yeah,
level
yeah, yeah,
and the state level, and
yeah,
then you have the really local level, like citywide and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
all of that has to filter up, and so I think I'm probably kind of in that lower tier level where I would probably have to reach out and,
Yeah.
who's part of all these clubs and, organize them to,
Which is
do something.
important, right? That's the grassroots.
Right. And I think that's something that the Democrats have been severely lacking in. Like, obviously, the Republicans have been whooping our
Yeah.
ass in terms of grassroots
And
movement.
so that's related to like the question that I was going to ask, which is, yeah, Democrats have been lacking and we've been getting our asses kicked because of all the issues that, you mentioned earlier. Why are you doing this as part of the Democrat Party as opposed to, like an independent or something? What's your motivation there?
Well,
Or what's your
unfortunately,
rationale, rather?
so I mean, I can't see myself as
Other
being.
than to be president one day, of course.
I mean, the thought has crossed my mind. Maybe this is the first step.
Right.
Maybe when I'm 30 years down the line and I'm starting to, lose my faculties, I'll be the perfect candidate for president of the United States.
Dude, 30
you
years,
know,
you're still too young, man. After 30 years. You
it's just the baby
you
face.
gotta
It's
be
just
you gotta be able to stumble every 3 steps and wear an adult diaper. That's what you gotta do. At that point, you're qualified.
Ah, I see. I still have a few more milestones to
Yeah,
reach
yeah, yeah. Oh
that.
boy. So
uh,
yeah, um,
so
is,
help me remember what we were just talking about.
dude, I'm the one smoking up, man.
I
I
know.
have no short-term memory. Um, shit. What were we talking about, man? Uh,
Well, I'll, I'll take the L on this one.
China,
I was
China, China.
China.
No, no, no,
Yes.
no, no.
Uh,
This is not this is not me going on some anti-China rant, but this is different from politics, right? Which we'll come back to. But what I was telling you right before we started the video was there's this small team of sort of an AI lab in China, which is obviously funded by the Chinese government, that does not have access to the same chips that the U.S. has because of sanctions that we put in place.
mhm,
That had to use innovative methods, and they've developed an open source LLM, which they've just
mhm,
released, which beats OpenAI's latest thinking model that they've released, and which they're charging people like $200 a month to have access to. And to use it for stuff like coding, it costs 30 times the price of the Chinese model. Um, but yeah, this team just released this model that's basically the best model in the world right now, and it's free. The only problem is it's developed in China, so it can do really well at like stuff like coding. But if you ask it what happened at Tiananmen Square, it says that nothing happened. That's literally like people have asked it. They've asked it about Taiwan, and it's like it says Taiwan is an integral part of China. But other
uh,
than that propaganda stuff, it actually does. Yeah, it does. It performs really well at every benchmark. It's nuts.
so you might want to break it down a minute for those who may not know what an LLM
Oh,
is.
oh,
I know learned language model because
yeah.
I'm a nerd.
So the LLM is basically, yeah, I should. So when you use ChatGPT, right? The big when ChatGPT like first exploded, at that time there was there's an AI model that's under the hood that's called a large language model. And at that time, it was ChatGPT version 3. That
Mhm,
was the one that was powering ChatGPT. Since then, OpenAI, which is the company behind ChatGPT, has released additional models. So their GPT-4 was a big step forward. They've taken a couple of minor steps since then, and they've gotten up to this model. Until Christmas, their latest model was something called uh, uh, OpenAI O uh, 1, but they announced that they were going to also be releasing an OpenAI O1 Pro for $200 a month. That was an even faster model, which was this type of AI model that's called a reasoning model. So up until that point, every time you went onto ChatGPT and you asked it a question, um, it, ChatGPT acted like one big Google search engine of everything that it was trained on. I'm oversimplifying, and spits out the answer without really spending any time thinking about whether it makes sense or not.
mhm.
This was the first AI model that actually spends time thinking. It'll show you its steps and it'll tell you what it's thinking. So it's very fascinating. So yeah, the Chinese model actually beat this one, OpenAI's model. And OpenAI spends hundreds of billions of dollars training that model with data. And the Chinese team called DeepSeek, they spent about $6 million training their model. It's crazy. Without access to the latest chips, it's really what they've done is amazing, and it's out there for everybody to use. And it's small too, so that's why you can probably that's why I was telling you this earlier. if you wanted to, you could download it onto your rig and run it locally pretty easily, which is crazy. You could have like your own personal AI model running locally.
Now, this company, it's a private company.
The Chinese one?
Yeah.
No, well, I think it's a private company, but open source means they just release it out there for people to use for free. So nobody pays
Right.
them anything. Um, so it might be a private company, but it's like a private company where just like Android was open source, right? It was created by Google for anybody to use essentially.
Right.
So that's why Samsung and all the other manufacturers started using it on their phones, right? That's the same rationale. If everybody starts using their model, then they have other ways to monetize it
Right.
instead of
Right. Yeah.
people paying them a subscription. But
Well, what
yeah,
I was getting at is, um, again, working in my politics. uh, a big thing what the government used to do was a whole lot of R&D.
mm-hmm.
And something as significant as this really should have, I wouldn't say oversight, but at least involvement, right? To help
Well,
guide what should be
yeah,
going.
yeah. I think you're absolutely right. It's people have, and I say people, I mean experts in the field, prominent people have said that this development is more important than Project Manhattan, which created the atomic bomb, right? And they're saying this is more significant to America's history, and what happens in the future than the atomic bomb. Um, and yeah, we've just the government has taken a step back, and they're letting the super rich kids who are running these corporations that are richer than any company in human history, they're letting them develop this thing, this technology. And guess what? Then they'll be controlling that technology. They'll be the ones who have all the power. So, yeah, no, it's definitely an issue, and it's not heading in a good direction. So that's why what the Chinese team is doing is actually really beneficial because they're saying, you know what, our AI model won't tell you shit about Tiananmen Square, but it's free, and it's up there with the best of them, so you can't be controlled by them, which is good. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I think we're at a crossroads for sure. Um,
So
and
yeah, I mean, speaking of AI, a good segue into the next activity. But if you wanted to do it, if you complete your thought, and
oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah, yeah.
if you wanted to say anything else about your
Well, it's just
manifesto.
reinforcing, the need for, you know, I, I keep saying government because I can't think of enough words, but when you have these huge mega corporations, developing this kind of, paradigm breaking technology, you don't want a private company doing that
Yep,
because they have a profit motive. Their motive is to make as much money and extract as much value as possible.
yep,
And really, for something that's going to have such a huge impact, you really need to have the common people kind of have a hand in, how that's going to develop and guide it to
yeah,
where it needs to go.
yeah.
So yeah, that's my piece.
So there's an interesting theory that human beings were not the apex predators on this planet. We're not the peak evolution of life on this planet because human beings, once they started grouping into groups and started working together to accomplish things and meet solve problems and accomplish goals in their surroundings, they began acting like an organism themselves. And so the theory is that as human society's complexity grew, um, these organisms grew in complexity, or whatever entities they were. And the theory is that right now corporations are sort of the end state version of human, complexity scaling up. The ultimate predators, right? They're at the top of the food chain and they're preying on everybody at this point. So I guess what I'm saying is free Luigi.
Long live Super Mario Brothers.
Oh yeah. All right, you want to do the thing, and you have no idea. Just so in case for the 4 people who end up watching this, Chris has no idea. I didn't tell him what any of this stuff was. All right. What?
I just want you to know in my video that I'm recording, I have you side by side with a looped video of just different dogs. So as we're discussing all this like incredible stuff, there's just pictures of puppies rolling around next to your face.
Why? Why would you do that?
To lighten the mood, obviously.
Okay.
Who hates dogs?
As long as clearly no. I don't hate dogs. All right. So tell me if you can see this screen.
Yes. I see my name and a bunch of text.
So what we're doing now is we're doing something. We're going to be using an AI tool to have a bit of a conversation. So I'll tell you a little bit about what this tool is. It's a tool by Google. It's called Notebook LM. And what it can do is you can put in information. You can add information as sources in here, and then you can ask Notebook LM like questions about that information. So it acts as your little personal like data store that you can ask AI questions about. So what I did was a couple of things. I took your candidate statement and I added it in here. That's the main source of information for this notebook right now in Notebook LM. I went to Google's Gemini and I said, prepare a detailed report on California Assembly District 76. We're not actually gonna like go too far down, but I wanted to know what the hell is, what area are we talking about here? So I got a response saying I can't help with responses to elections. So then I neutered my query to remove like a political thing. And I just said, give me some basic information about the area. And it gave me this information about the area. And then I said, add in information about political trends. And it again gave me this error saying, I can't help with that right now. So Google is not responding to political queries. I did the same thing in the Chinese AI tool called DeepSeek. And I said, give me this information. And I included all the controversial political stuff. And it gave me the report right away.
Oh, wow.
China #1. No, I'm kidding. So the reason why I'm sharing this is I took both the information that DeepSeek prepared and that Google's Gemini prepared up here. And I added them in there as notes to into this notebook. And you can add in notes, and then you can use the notes as a source itself. So all the sources are over here. And I just took the general website for District 76, and I put it in there as a source as well. So your candidate statement, some information about District 76, the website is in there. Now here's the cool thing, right? So after you put it in there, you can generate an audio overview of this. I'm gonna play it. Tell me if you can hear it. You'll find it pretty funny.
Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? Today we're heading to Southern California.
To the 76th Assembly District.
Can you hear anything?
We're gonna break down why this.
Oh, you can't hear? Damn it. Why? I'm sharing my screen. Why isn't...
Do you want to maybe shoot me the link and then I can click it and then maybe access it that way?
No, because... I'll tell you why. second.
I'm not gonna have my voice, prank calling people on my.
No. It's kind
Just
of
kidding.
hilarious. Oh, that would be funny. How do we do this? I know that I can hear it, obviously. There's some settings. You know what? Let me ask Jen. Give me a second. I will.
Yeah, no problem. I'm checking my side too to see if there's anything.
It's just. Oh, wait. Okay, I entered picture in picture. Oh, I gotta present a Chrome tab. Okay, let's see if I do this. Let's see if I can do this now. I gotta pick the damn tab though. Oh, right here. Also share tab audio. Perfect. Okay. So now you can see this.
Yes.
All right. Okay, let's start this over. You should be able to hear this now.
Hey everyone, ready for another
Can you
deep
hear it?
dive? Today we're heading to Southern
All
California.
right, listen.
To the 76th Assembly District
Yeah, we're gonna break down why this little slice of San Diego County.
is actually like a mini California,
Totally. It's got all the big statewide issues.
but with that unique SoCal twist.
Exactly. And we've got a ton of sources to dig into.
Got a super detailed report on the district itself.
Nice.
Plus, we'll compare it to neighboring cities like San
wait.
Marcos and Escondido.
Oh, that's smart.
We've also got official assembly data to add some hard numbers.
Love the data.
And to spice things up even more, we've even got a statement from a candidate.
Oh, juicy.
Ooh.
Someone trying to shake things up.
Statement from a candidate. All
Our
right.
mission
Now
today
here's the
isn't
cool
just to give
thing.
you a dry
here's the cool
overview.
thing.
We want to uncover.
Oh my God.
Wait. Now here's the cool thing. Just keep listening.
Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive. Today we're heading to Southern California.
To the 76th.
Oh wait, someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Hey, can you give me a 1-minute summary of Chris Macias's candidate statement?
Absolutely, I can do that for you.
Yeah, let's unpack this really quick.
So Chris Macias is a lifelong California Democrat.
Got it.
He's running for the 76th Assembly District delegate.
And he's not happy with the status quo, right?
Exactly. He believes the party needs a bold, progressive agenda.
Okay, that's clear.
He's focusing on economic relief for the working class.
Which is definitely a hot topic.
He mentioned stagnant wages and rising cost of living.
Yeah, people are feeling that pinch.
He also wants to elevate diverse working class candidates.
Okay, that's an important push for representation.
He wants people who aren't beholden to corporate interests.
So not part of the establishment.
And finally, he wants to focus on tangible change.
Not just culture war issues.
So in a nutshell, oh yeah,
Can you tell me if any of the positions that Chris holds are found in other information? Wait.
That's a great question. It's important to know where a candidate stands.
Yeah, let's unpack.
Oh, back to our listener.
Doesn't
What's up?
always work. Can you tell me if any of Chris's positions mirror any of the prominent policy issues within District 76?
That's a really insightful question.
Yeah, it's not always a direct match, is it?
So you're asking if his general ideas align with specific problems here?
Let's unpack this.
He talks about economic injustices and stagnant wages,
And that totally mirrors the income inequality we see in District 76.
with some parts being very affluent while others struggle.
Exactly. We'll show how that plays out in the data later,
He's against the rising cost of living.
which directly relates.
That's pretty cool, right?
Holy crap.
Yeah.
We don't even need to do a podcast, man. We just need to, feed
dude.
this AI.
Dude, this is no, that's the thing, right? People are doing this, and I just stopped sharing and back. People are doing this, and like they're creating automated podcasts and stuff like that with it. They're flipping the voices around. I thought that, dude, nobody's actually like including the thing in the conversation, so that could be interesting, right? You could have like an interactive podcast with the AI, on topics.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I did not
Yeah,
think.
even when I asked the question about whether your policies like mirror like past issues,
Yeah.
it used the data.
So do you know if it pulls that data as soon as you do that query, or is it just kind of like cached somewhere and it just?
So here, I'll show you. I'll show this to you again.
And this is me just getting into the weeds,
Yeah. No, it's a good tool to like learn stuff. I'll show you one of the other notebooks that I have in here, and it's free. Uh, but it's pretty easy to use. But essentially, so when I added these things as notes over here, right? So your candidate statement, the website, web address, and all the information over there. I can add other sources. You can add like YouTube links. You can add Google Docs, slides, just text. You can drag in PDFs. I've actually created notebooks of PDFs and audio. I've used audio to like do meeting minutes and stuff. But once you load stuff as sources, it sort of becomes your own personal database. And as you load sources, the model just analyzes it and adds it to the it think of it as it's temporarily training itself on that data so that it can give you specific information about that data.
Okay. I guess the only thing I can think of right now is we all suffer from our own bias and bubbles, right? Like, how would you prevent that from transferring over to the AI? Because obviously, in this example, right, you got a really awesome candidate, and he will probably only want to have sources
Right.
that benefit him, right?
Right.
So how would you counter that as just a person?
So to put it bluntly, right? So this is a very customizable data set. You can essentially put anything in here. So if I wanted to put a bunch of propaganda in here and then ask the AI to give me answers based on that propaganda, it would absolutely believe that everything in that propaganda is true, and it would give me completely biased answers that align with the propaganda but that aren't aligned with the truth. So with the Notebook LM, you can control the bias basically. With general large language models, I don't know. It's from what I've heard, from what I have studied, I should say, recently, as I've begun to learn about this. It's easy to induce bias if you want to. You have AI architectures which can essentially use a data set of, that can be tailored towards specific data, just like this can, but at a much sort of larger scale. I'm oversimplifying. But then that data set, that database will be used to modify any query or influence any query that the user actually submits. So you're not just biasing the responses, you're just biasing the queries themselves, and then the responses automatically can get biased, right? So, again, I'm sure there's safeguards against it, but these systems are being designed by people, so people will find ways around their safeguards, especially if they've designed the safeguards, right? So, yeah, those are definitely, there are a lot of hugely important questions when it comes to AI, like hugely, massively important questions, existential sort of questions. But anyways, I wanted to show you this real quick. I'm studying. I'm trying to learn how to build an AI agent. So I built this notebook, added all these videos as data sources, and yeah, from there I'm starting to just um, add in information over here. I can get an audio overview. I can query something like along the lines of give me a step-by-step approach to build an agent from all this information. So it's a really good learning tool as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out. This is cool.
Yeah.
If only I had this in college, it'd be a lot easier to write some of those essays.
Right. Right.
No, but I'm sure you've probably seen over the years when they've had like an LLM or something along those lines, like Microsoft would like let it connect to
Oh
the internet,
God.
and then within
Went
24
totally
hours it became
crazy, right?
a Roman saluting,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
citizen.
Yeah.
So like, I'm just wondering if if that's going to be the ultimate destination for a lot of these LLMs, like.
Well, it does, it depends on the answer to the question. Do more intelligent beings just inherently, are they just going to prey on less intelligent beings, right? And the reason why it went there is because that's an easy mechanism for it to use to prey, right, on humans. Um, so yeah, there's a very real question about that. The other part of this is it's weird to think about, you know, humans may go, AI may make humans extinct in a very boring way. It might not be like a war against the machines like Terminator style or something like that. I've heard people give examples um, of a system that's tasked with designing better computer chips becomes um, super intelligent, and it realizes that the most efficient solution to designing computer chips is to remove the corrosive effect that oxygen has in the process. And the most efficient way to do that is to remove oxygen from the atmosphere. And so it uses its super intelligence to just remove oxygen from Earth's atmosphere. It terraforms Earth. And life is gone, right? It's a very boring way. It's not. And it's super intelligent. It'll do it in a way that we won't be able to stop it. So,
Well, I think we're already along that path, anyways.
well, yeah, yeah.
Give or take.
It'll just speed that up like a million times. Dude, did you hear about? I heard this crazy thing that at CES, Nvidia talked about this virtual software platform that they've created. It's this virtual world that they put AI entities in there, and they give them just simple commands: learn how to walk, and they learn how to function in that virtual environment. And then time within that virtual environment is sped up 1,000 times. So if they do a day's training over here, if the day's learning is equal to 1,000 days learning in that virtual environment. And eventually, these entities, they figure out how to, function like humans in every way. And then they just take that entity out and they can put it inside a humanoid robot. And now the humanoid robot has an artificial intelligent entity in it that's learned how to do everything in a virtual environment, so it knows how to function in the real world. That's some sci-fi shit right there.
It reminds me of that one Black Mirror episode where you have a person's consciousness electronically on a server and they're living. I mean, it's not quite the same, but
No,
that's what I was reminded of.
It's heading in that direction, right? Portable consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can if you have storage that can, if you have mobile storage that can house an AI that has maybe 1,000th the intelligence in terms of neural connections that a human mind does, well, then you only need 1,000 times the storage, and then you can house a human intelligence in there. Yeah, so.
That's neat. I think I saw something. I don't know if it was in video, but somewhere where you just watch and it's just like falling over, and then over time learns how to walk. And
Yeah. Those
there's a video of it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They abuse those poor things so much. When they gain sentience, they're gonna murder all those scientists.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you heard, but the security detail for Fauci was just removed because why not?
Yeah, and you absolutely know that people are going to go after him to kill him, and those people will be pardoned or not even prosecuted. Um, yeah,
it is frustrating because I feel like there's been this big push to be manly macho man, and we hate the intellectuals who think there's just, I
yeah,
guess that's what the movement is, anti-intellectualism.
yeah, yeah,
And this is not the time for that, especially with artificial intelligence just over the horizon. It's probably sooner than we
yeah.
think, too.
Well, yeah. So, firstly, anti-intellectualism is the hallmark of every fascist movement in human history. Every one of them were anti-intellectual. Not a single one of them were like, oh, the intellectuals are great, let's elevate them to positions of power. No. The Nazis, the second in command, Heinrich Himmler, was a chicken farmer, right? So they were dumb hicks who hated the intellectuals. Um,
So you're saying it was the price of eggs?
it was the price of eggs. Dude, I got eggs at Costco today. It was crazy. Like I actually went over there at like 11 a.m. because I was like, shit, I'm late. It opens at 10. They're going to be all out of eggs. They actually had eggs. I got eggs.
Wait, so they're normally out at your store?
Well, they've been out for like a couple of months because of the crazy like bird
Oh,
shortage and stuff like that, and all the stupid rumors that were going around, right? The
yeah.
bird flu stuff, and then the storms, the fires, people were freaking out. Yeah, all of that. Like the
Well,
eggs
you
just
want to hear
vanished.
something even scarier? Apparently, there's a 5 to 10% chance that the avian flu could cross over into humans due to COVID, and we don't have NIH funding or any sort of communication. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's
no.
crazy.
It's you talked about us having dumbasses, right? Who are anti-intellectuals at a time when superintelligence could be coming out. I listened to this podcast. I don't know. I think it's called like 12 Ways the World Could End or something like that. Or humans could go extinct. And the one that's most probable in the first episode is the guy talks about. I mean, one of the episodes is the AI, and he talks about like increasingly unlikely scenarios. But the first most likely scenario is bioterrorism, because he said like right now the level of the technology to engineer viruses artificially, like create artificial viruses, do like weaponized bio research. You could do it in a shed somewhere. You just order the equipment, and you don't need a sophisticated lab. And so he's like, yeah, that's the most likely thing that'll wipe out human like society, because it'll just wipe out 70-80% of the population. Um, yeah, so something like the avian flu. I mean, shit. If we were already seeing like instances of bird flu, right? Like a couple of people in California popped off or something like that. But if we're talking like, I think if we're talking an elevated transmission risk, yeah, that's a big and and as part of like COVID with a vector, that'll just cause mutations and yeah. You know what? Listen, stock up on bleach.
Inject it, right? I think that's the most
Oh,
effective.
the bleach you gotta inject. I thought bleach you gotta put up your butt.
Oh God,
And
there's just so many ways, right? It's
yeah,
just so confusing. No,
you
I was
know,
reading.
just do all of them, right? Like inject some flashlights into your hand and put some
There
bleach
we
up your
go.
butt, and we'll be fine.
No, I was reading another interesting article along those lines because I do think if there's anything that's going to take us out, it's going to be microscopic. But yeah, this article was basically saying that I think in Greenland, the new job to make lots of money is to shave ice off the glacier and ship it over to the Middle East, like Qatar and stuff, so they can have glacier ice in their fancy cocktails. And who knows what kind of microorganisms and
Dude,
stuff
all
is in
these
there.
people. I hope they all die. I really like hope, and I don't mean like Muslims, obviously. I don't mean all people from Qatar. I mean all these super rich assholes.
Yeah.
I hope Elon gets some weird 5 billion-year-old virus that like freezes his hand at 45 degrees.
I saw a quote that I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember the specifics, but it basically said, I always anticipated, watching, you know, ultra wealthy, ultra powerful
Yeah,
men
yeah,
driving,
huh,
us
yeah,
into the dirt,
yeah,
but I didn't expect them to be so uncool. And then there was a
yeah,
picture of,
yeah. Such losers, right? Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. These guys are losers, man. It's
uh,
not even like, it's not even whatever the Great Gatsby or whatever, whoever those people were back in the roaring 20s. Yeah, but this is where we are. I don't
uh,
know. I dude, I genuinely think that the next 4 years are going to be the most consequential years in human history. Um, and I didn't say this the first time. No, first time I was like, yeah, this is dangerous. But maybe the state will hold up. Now, the superpower of the time is collapsing into fascism. Superintelligence is emerging. UAPs are in the sky. We haven't talked UAPs yet. There are UAPs in the sky. People are officially
quick
talking about it.
tangent. Have you watched Dan to Dan?
No, I've not seen.
Oh my God, it's on Netflix. It's so bizarre. So imagine a nerd that's really into UAPs, and then a
Uh,
girl who's really into like ghosts and stuff, and they're always trying to
oh,
outdo each other, and
I
and
gotta watch it.
so
Yeah, yeah, no, it's on the
yeah,
list.
it's
It's on the list to watch.
yeah,
Oh
it's a bit
God,
pervy,
it's fine,
but
dude.
it's unique.
Have you watched Severance?
I am one episode behind. I did not watch today's.
Ooh, okay, so you watched season one,
Yeah,
and
I do,
oh my goodness.
and
Okay,
I
okay.
just
I
started
wait,
Silo
wait.
too.
All right. I wait. I've only seen the first episode of season two of Severance. And you said you
Okay.
just started Silo?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
dude. Okay. Silo. It's crazy, right? Silo and Severance are probably in my top 10 all-time shows already.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Severance is so damn good. Silo is. I For me, Severance was instantly in my top 10. Silo season 1 was good. Really, really, really good, actually. Season 2 started off okay and then became really, 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 really good. Perhaps better than season 1.
Hmm.
Um, and, like, at this point, Silo's in my top 10 as well. I think it's as good as Severance. It's crazy that these two shows are, like, right after each other.
Yeah, no, yeah. And I'm still working on The Expanse. Hey, no, I'm on season 2, so I'm
Okay.
a third of
Oh,
the way
okay,
there.
okay. Ooh, season
And
season 1 was something, huh?
well, yeah, I
US
also read the
station.
book. Well, I had the book read to me. Which covers the first 2 seasons anyway, so I kind of know what's going on. But audiobooks are the bomb.
Yeah, especially so what you can do is you can put an audiobook into this and ask it to Notebook LM, and you can ask it to create an audio overview of like chapter 1. You can
Oh
listen to
my
it that
god,
way.
amazing!
I put one of my buddies who's like studied AI recently, who's something like me. He started studying AI recently. he recommended that I study, buy this book called um, like introduction, a quick start guide to LLMs.
Mm.
And of course, I pirated it. I got the PDF. I put the PDF into Notebook LM, and I'm getting audio overviews, chapter by chapter overviews, and I'm just learning it that way. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Oh man.
This some of the AI tools are really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the meme. It's like kids at school using LLMs to, pass class, and then teachers at the school using LLMs to detect the LLMs, and it's just like this cycle is hilarious.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's wild. And I thought, our generation growing up was pretty wild, with the introduction of the PC, the internet, and all that. But no,
I mean,
we're still going.
that shit was magical to us, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sure to our parents' generation, they were like, "What is this stuff?"
No.
I mean, my mom still doesn't turn on her computer because she doesn't know how to push the button.
The files are in the computer, right?
Yeah, in the computer.
I'm so glad you got that reference.
It's a walk off. Put a cork in it, Zane.
Oh my god.
You can derelict my balls. I love that movie, man.
It's so good.
I'm still not seeing Zoolander 2. Because I heard it wasn't great.
Yeah, no, you no, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like Dumb and Dumberer. That was pretty awful too.
No. Yeah. All right, man.
I maybe the AI has been around for a while, and that's why we have such terrible movies. Just they're feeding in, all right, here's Dumb and Dumber, make a sequel.
So
awful.
So, I mean, it's an interesting question, right? If this whole thing was AI generated anyways, maybe that's an explanation why content like Hollywood is so terrible. They're just the AI is not smart enough to put out good content.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, dude. Well, I think I need to be. Wait, what? Oh, we've been at this for almost an hour now. Yeah, for a second I was like, wait, did we just start this? I'm pretty baked.
You like baking is what you mean, right?
Oh yes, of course. Hash brownies.
Yeah, man, this is exciting. I'm just a filthy casual when it comes to LLM stuff, and
I was worse than a casual, man. I just started studying some of this. It's interesting, but yeah, this stuff, man.
So how are you going to use these tools in your work to exploit labor and extract maximum value for the shareholders?
So, well, that's the interesting thing, right? If I, based on what I'm seeing, dude, just based on everything that I'm learning about right now, right? And I'm not learning how to do stuff. I'm just learning. Right now I'm focused on like learning the basics, and part of learning the basics, because it changes so fast, is you've got to learn the latest stuff, like what's going on right now in the field of AI. So based on what I'm hearing about what's going on right now in the field of AI, what this Chinese team is doing, what OpenAI is doing, what Google is doing, companies aren't going to need developers and testers. They're not going to need human developers and testers in a couple of years. They're not. That does not mean they're going to get rid of all their developers and testers. I think there's going to be a painful transition. It's going to take more than 2 years. But I think the technology, like for me, right, I have no coding background, and right now I know which tools I can use to go from idea to deploying a web or mobile app with no coding experience, and I know how to do that. And it's not going to be a super complicated app if I wanted to do that, but I know the path. I've not done it yet, but I know the path, and I know which tools, and I know it'll cost a certain amount, maybe like $100 or something like that, to do that. But I could do that myself, right? So if I can do that right now, to do that at an enterprise level, you need more sophistication, but the technology is definitely getting there. So just based on what I'm seeing right now, dude, and once you get rid of human developers and testers, why do you need human project managers?
I mean, do you even need project managers now? No,
I know. I mean, there's a lot of, there is a lot of, oh, and you have tools that you can have a conversation with, an ideation conversation, and they'll convert them into, business process flows and capabilities and features from there. And from there, they'll figure out what's the technical architecture needed to meet those requirements. And from there, the technical architecture will go out and build code, right? So my
Jesus
point
Christ,
is,
you just described my job.
right? Well, I just described every stage of the delivery lifecycle, right? Requirements, architecture, development, testing, deployment. It can already be done at a small scale by AI. Yeah, dude, it's I don't know how the transition will be slow and painful, but every CEO is going to be pressured by that board. Cut your staff by 20% in the next year. It's not going to be small cuts. It's going to be a 20% reduction in operational expenses, right? And yeah, the only way you do that is by just consistently laying off people. And I don't see how it does not go in that direction.
I mean, we're already seeing that. Like, if you look at the gaming industry, like the 2024 was like over 8,000 jobs lost, and before that it was like only a couple thousand. Like, it's already going in that direction, and they don't even have the AI yet.
Yeah. It's exactly that, right? Like there's already been the pressure to cut costs. That's what companies do. Yeah, it's crazy. And then the stuff that I told you about the humanoid robotics, right? And you have AI that's trained for 1,000 fucking years. Pardon the language, but 1,000 years in a virtual matrix, and then it's put into this thing, and this thing can do complicated tasks at that point. Think about just service industry jobs going away, just jobs everywhere going away, right?
In a different structure that isn't capitalism, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. You'd actually get to enjoy life.
Oh yeah.
And experience it. Where here, if you don't work, you don't eat. You don't eat, you die.
So that is genuinely going to be. So that's system collapse, right? Because, firstly, if people don't have money to eat, that means they don't have money to spend on everything these companies are producing. So where does the money come from for the corporations? That's economic collapse. If they don't have money to eat, that's population collapse. Yeah, so population collapse and economic collapse. That is system collapse at that point, right? And I saw this other podcast with this AI researcher. It was on the Lex Friedman podcast, and he used a very simple analogy. He said, in any system, right, if you have a system that's in balance, so you've got different things going on in a system. It can be a fish tank is a system. A conference room is a system of, the air functions a certain way. It's at a certain temperature. People have certain spots. The same way, every system, if it's stable, most of the things in the system stay within a certain range. They don't exceed that range. If you have a system where over time, one of the variables starts growing exponentially, then that system is a system in crisis. It's heading towards collapse. And what he said is, in the human system, artificial intelligence is the thing that's heading. That's the only thing that's changing. It's changing at an exponential rate. And he said, that's the factor. That's the variable in our system that's sending us towards collapse. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting 4 years and beyond, not just 4 years. It's going to be. I don't know if we're all going to be.
4 years is going to be the longest decade of our lives.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, we might not be around for the whole 4 years. Like I might not. I don't. Well, Helena's Chinese, so just watch out.
Ni hao, that's how you say hello.
Yes. If they win the AI race, you're good. You can be my Oscar Schindler.
So here's another phrase. This will get you 90%. So ni hao is hello.
Yeah.
Wa ani is I love you. See, that's all you have to do. When the invasion comes, ni hao wa ani, hello, I love you, and then you're good.
I feel like you're telling me how to curse them out so that I'll get shot by the first soldier that shows up.
No. Unfortunately, Helen isn't cool enough to teach me any curse words, so I don't.
It's okay. Google Translate is there.
Yeah. I guess I'll just have to use AI for that.
Yeah, use AI. Exactly. But don't use Google because it won't give you the answer. Use the Chinese one.
So actually, I recently got the Samsung flip phone.
Mm-hmm.
The Flip 6 or whatever, because my Pixel was murdered by my son.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually incorporate a lot of AI features in there, and one of the most interesting ones I have. So you can flip the phone, like this, right? And then you just flip it, and then you can actually have it be your translator. So if I said like something, and then it would show up the Chinese characters right here.
Oh my goodness, dude! That's like the transcorder in
Star Trek.
Star Trek, not the communicator, the flip phone, the flip style communicator. Nice.
Yeah, but I'm hesitant to really mess with any of the AI features because I was watching another guy, and I think I sent you the video where basically with AI being embedded in everything. Encryption is not going to really matter anymore because everything's being recorded just to train these AIs. Every single
thing. Yeah, no, they're... if they can already manipulate us to a certain extent, right? But we're essentially giving AI all the data to manipulate every single human being individually if it wanted to. And make essentially enslave every single human being, if you wanted to, giving them all the information about us. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we might not be around to find out.
So in your next episode, it's going to focus on can we teach robots to love, right? Is that the next?
I already have an idea for that, which is interesting. But more to come. We'll share that next time.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, man. This has been fun.
This has been good.
Do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. I'll get some lighting and put up some cool things on the green screen. I want to see your actual stream eventually to see what sort of stuff did you put next to my head. That's what
right now. It's two puppies cuddling each other.
Okay, that's fine.
At one point, you were talking, and then there was a pug. It was kind of distracting.
I love pugs. Pugs are the best. Yeah. One of the first dogs we dog sat for was Pug. Love him so much. All right, man.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Talk to you later. Good night.